Let's take a trip across the pond this week and go over to Indonesia. And now I haven't been into Indonesia in a long time and I love it there. It's so much fun. And I am really interested in checking out the crypto landscape over in Asia. So I have invited Pang Xue Kai to the podcast today. He is the CEO of Tokocrypto. Thank you so much for joining us, Kai. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me for today's podcast. I'm doing well. Thanks.
I also should probably mention that this is the HackerNoon Podcast, and my name is Amy Tom. So thanks so much for tuning in.
HackerNoon Podcast.
Today, Kai, I want to ask you a few questions about what it's like with the crypto landscape in Indonesia. So to start off, I have a few questions for you. Have you been to America before, first of all?
Yes. I've been to America when I was a lot younger. A couple of times. My parents have a few close family friends in America. I've been to San Francisco. I've been to Reno. I think those are the two places that I still remember, but that was like really, really long time ago. I really liked it there. Weather was very nice, and yeah, I had a good time there.
Okay. I ask because I'm wondering what your level of knowledge is of the crypto industry in America versus what it's like in Indonesia.
Um, to my knowledge, I think definitely in America, I think okay, so I think the underlying fundamental difference is that in Indonesia, crypto is regulated under the Commodities and Derivatives Agency, while in America, it's regulated under the a totally different agency. So as an asset being as a commodity, the fundamental regulations that surrounds it is very much different from how America would regard it. So in a sense, there's perhaps more leeway for business players to really explore in terms of regulatory partnership, because it doesn't fall under the equivalent of the SEC in America, right? Um, so I don't know the full extent of America's, America's regulations, but in Indonesia at least, crypto, yes, it falls under. It's currently regarded as a commodity. So the current regulatory landscape kind of builds itself on the existing commodities infrastructure, which involves a clearinghouse, a crypto custodian, a futures exchange, as well as a kind of like a trader of crypto in essence, which is what Tokocrypto is.
So, what do you think that the general overall adoption of crypto has been like in Indonesia?
So definitely it has grown a lot over the past couple of years, I would say. I believe back in 2018 when I first started Tokocrypto, I think the total number of users or the total number of exchange accounts, basically people with accounts on an exchange, was close to about 1 to 2, maybe 1.5 billion. But right now, based on what the government is reporting, there's close to about 6.5 million people that has an account on a cryptocurrency exchange, and that is more than the number of people that are actually on the stocks exchange. So
Wow, okay. Yeah.
so the level of penetration of crypto is definitely a lot higher than what it is for, like I mentioned, for the traditional stocks exchange. Part of which is because of the ease of access, right? Because when you want to open an account on a cryptocurrency exchange, or when you want to open a cryptocurrency wallet, it's so much easier. You can do it from your smartphone as compared to having to open an account on a stocks exchange. And, definitely there's been a lot of hype. There's been a lot of news that's going on in Indonesia. A lot of big influencers are starting to come into this space. I don't know if you know Luna Maya, one of the topmost influencer in Indonesia. She's actually creating her own NFTs. In Indonesia. I think she has a following of like 40 million, which is like close to 30% of Indonesia's population. So yeah, definitely the adoption or the awareness of crypto is there in Indo. With the inclusion of the influencers of Indonesia, with the ease of access, it definitely has grown to quite a sizable amount.
And I don't know how to ask this, but where do you think that the crypto hype physically lives? Like, is the crypto center Jakarta?
Yeah, I mean, based on the stats and data that we have, at least for Tokocrypto, the largest amount of people actually comes from Jakarta. And after that, it kind of floats down to the other tier one cities like Surabaya, Medan, Bali, of course. There's a big crypto nomad community in Bali, and the interesting and exciting thing is that I think there is a potential to turn Bali into a crypto hub, right? Because of the awareness of people around the world of Bali as a international travel spot. It's kind of primed to be this crypto hub where people can come, people can exchange thoughts, or people can build their ideas regarding blockchain projects from Bali. That's why for Tokocrypto as well, we have already started on our plans to start building a crypto hub in Bali. Hopefully by 2022, early 2022, we can have something, with the COVID quarantine restrictions reducing. Maybe you might consider coming back to Bali.
I would definitely consider coming back to Bali. I'm basically just waiting for you to open your border for me. That's cool. Yeah, I can see what you mean. I think Bali would be a really cool, interesting spot for expats to get into crypto. Yeah, that's really cool. That's very interesting. And what is crypto adoption like in areas of Indonesia that are not tier one cities?
So definitely for tier one, outside of tier one, we're looking at tier two cities like perhaps I would say maybe Malang or Makassar. It's still kind of restricted, like the in terms of the access. People don't have that level of awareness yet. But I think definitely as part of the initiatives of Tokocrypto education, to make sure that crypto industry in Indonesia continues to grow, right? It's the same for everywhere around the world. Education and knowledge is key. And in a sense, for us, we do realize that there is a need to basically build up the knowledge that people have of this industry, because if you have a lack of knowledge, that makes you susceptible to scams, frauds, and hacks. We just recently heard there's a big major hack that happened on one of the big cryptocurrency projects out there. It makes you susceptible to those. So in order to prevent those, we want to prevent those, right? Because with the occurrence of these bad events, it ultimately would damage the entire people's perception of crypto, right?
Yeah.
Initially, crypto started as people use it for money laundering. I believe you watched the show Startup on Netflix, the English version, where people were trying to money launder through Bitcoin. But we just gotta make sure that we properly educate people that how do they avoid these kind of things, and also properly educate business owners as well as the regulators that how do they play their part to basically ensure the security of the space. I think in terms of for tier two cities, that's something that's lacking, and that's something that we're trying to push through our outreach program. We created applications for people to learn about cryptocurrency in Indo. Like we have this app called Cryptoversity. So yeah, those are a lot of our initiatives that we're pushing out, collaborating with universities. Just to have a module on crypto. I think those are the things that it's pretty interesting. It's happening in Indo because of because of the support by the government, which we're seeing right now. Yeah.
Oh, what's that been like?
It's pretty interesting because I've not seen a country that has been so supportive of the entire movement. So we work with various different ministries, one of which is the Ministry of Industry. So I'm sure you've heard Indonesia is currently going through an oxygen crisis. As of Tuesday, there's 182 hospitals that only have 12 hours of oxygen left. So it's a crisis for Indonesia, and at Tokocrypto, we're trying to play our part. We're trying to bring in oxygen tanks and oxygen cylinders from Singapore. But Indonesia being the way it is, you got to track it. If not, it's just gonna go missing, right? Because of the lack of infrastructure. So we created kind of like a blockchain tracker for the ministry to use in order to track, the movement, the utilization of the oxygen, and basically, just to help them in the entire process of getting oxygen to the hospitals that actually need them.
Wait, what does it have to do with the blockchain?
So it allows it to be open and transparent. So obviously for people that are donating, right, they want to see that the funds that are being donated or the items that are being donated, i.e. the oxygen, the big ISO oxygen tanks, right, they're not just used for other purposes, but actually used for the purpose that it was intended to. So by using the blockchain, we're able to upload it, and then everyone can be able to track its location and its utilization.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah. Hey, and on this note, I also want to, land a plug here. I shared a bit about the oxygen crisis in Indo, right? So if anyone who's hearing this wants to donate and help, there's actually a cause that's there's a campaign that we're currently running. It's amongst a group of startups in Indonesia. It's called Oxygen for Indonesia. You can check it out at oxygenforindonesia.com. We're looking to raise funds to buy oxygen concentrators for Indonesia. So for whoever's that's listening to the podcast, just head over there, check it out, and do consider helping Indonesia out.
Cool. Yeah. Send me that link and I will put it in the show notes of the episode so everyone can go check that out. Cool.
Thank you.
So the reason I was asking you about like the difference between the adoption in the tier 1 cities versus the tier 2 cities is because I think that one of the things that might differ in crypto landscape between America and Indonesia is like the wealth, right? Because I mean, let's be honest, America is a more wealthy country than Indonesia is. And so in smaller cities that are perhaps more povertish, where people don't have as much disposable income to invest into cryptocurrency, I was wondering if there was like lack of adoption in these smaller areas. Yeah.
Actually, not really true, because to enter into crypto, right? The barriers of entry is very, very, very low. I mean, on Toko, it's $10 in order to enter. And if you buy in rupiah, it's 20,000, which is 20,000 IDR rupiah, which comes to about $1.70 in US dollars. So the barriers to entry is very low. So we don't see that. So our ticket size of trades on the exchange, which would vary from city to city, right? So for lower tier cities, we do still see people that are trading of a smaller amount. There's also this advent of this concept called play to earn. I think it also initially originated from the Philippines. There's this game that's really hyped there. And there's this story that has been going that people over there that were unemployed because of the COVID situation, they couldn't find work, but they turned towards this game and they will manage to earn their income. And this is something that we're seeing in Indonesia as well, especially so for tier 2 cities. They're coming on board because they're looking for avenues to earn more income, to subsidize for the lack of income that's coming in because of the COVID situation, right? So they don't need to trade crypto, but they can play, say, a crypto game, and they can participate in the crypto economy to basically get the rewards of crypto. So, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of goes back to what you were saying about accessibility and education. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? How can we make crypto more accessible to people?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, and when we talk about a digital product, it's about usability, the user interface, customer experience, right? I always like to use this quote that I've heard many times, so I also like to quote it for people. Whenever you say you use the lift, or you basically, yeah, there are things inside our lives that are powered by technology that we didn't even know existed. Do you know what powers your lift when you press, and how does it connect to, basically, how does it read that you want to go to level 8, and then that door should open, and yeah, right? So our vision at Toco is always that we feel that crypto is going to be here to stay, and one day people are going to be using it, living it, or crypto / blockchain, yeah? Right? People are going to be living it, using it, and they're not even going to know that it's blockchain or crypto that's powering it. So,
yeah.
In my opinion, yeah,
it's going to be as common as elevator technology. Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that's the way that it should be. Once it gets to that stage, people are just it's gonna reach mass adoption.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so tell me more about Tokocrypto. How many people work for Tokocrypto, and how many people work for you?
All right. So currently, the organization is slightly more than 100. And we have the bulk of our talent is in Indonesia. We do have people from outside Indonesia as well. Singapore is one of the areas that we have quite a number of talents. We have talents in Vietnam and Malaysia as well. So yeah, it's been an exciting journey trying to onboard everyone into this gigantic family that we have right now.
Cool. And as the CEO, are you also the founder?
Yeah. So I'm one of the co-founders that started Tokocrypto back in 2018. I'm the one that's kind of like building and mainly running the entirety, building the team, building the product. And the other co-founders have actually transitioned into a more advisory role who help, and they have been very helpful and resourceful in assisting Tokocrypto in the form of regulatory, advice, in the form of, we're trying to make crypto mainstream. We're trying to make crypto legitimate. We're trying to, through the institutionalization of some of the products that we have, trying to make it legit and mainstream in Indo. So yeah, they advise a lot on that. We got advisors on tech as well, security, of course, as well as marketing. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And when you started Tokocrypto in 2018, what was the crypto landscape like in Indonesia back then?
Yeah, it was. So there was a bigger player there was a previous player as an exchange. It was called Bitcoin.co.id back then. But for us to start it up, the general landscape back then was that it was unregulated. That's the first thing, right? The entire space was unregulated. We never heard of regulations around the world. I think back in 2018 even. So it was kind of like a cowboy era. I always heard stories of people carrying boxes of cash to to shops just to buy cryptocurrency. And it was a very, I would say, raw stage of crypto in Indo. And yeah, it has since transitioned out of that to become a more regulated, to become a more, a cleaner environment for business players to basically run operations on. Yeah.
Were you in Jakarta back then?
Yep, I've always been in Jakarta, but on the early days, I've had to frequently travel around Jakarta. Indo, sorry. So I've been to Medan, I've been to Malang, I've been to Jogja, Bandung, because we all have small offices in all those areas. We've been to Bali and we used to frequent these places a lot and really, really love these cities. And I really miss the chance to be able to travel again within Indonesia, because right now we're kind of going through a lockdown again. Yeah.
Me too. I also went to Jogja, and that also seems like it would be an interesting hub for crypto. There's still a lot of people there. It is very exciting. Yes. Oh, I miss Indo so much, and I miss the food. Okay, now we're going on a tangent. Okay, so as the CEO, then what do you do? Like, I always curious about what does a CEO actually do?
Oh, shit. Everyone's gonna know the secret. I actually sit in my office and do nothing. No, so as a CEO, or as all CEOs around the world, and those in all corporations, I guess, and companies, I think what our responsibility is ultimately to basically guide the company as per our vision as well as the shareholders' vision. It's a lot about thinking about what we're planning to do to get us from where we are at to to 10x that, right? To basically.
But how do you see the vision?
So for Toco itself, it's about thinking about how we can grow the business by adding new business channel, how we can add more business products to bring in more revenue into the company. That's one. We've got to think about, ultimately a company is about growing in size, right? And then we got to think about our vision as a company, or our vision of crypto as a company, which is to make it legitimate and mainstream. And in order to do that, it doesn't just fall from the skies. We have to have programs, we have to have outreach programs, and those things needs to be planned. Like what kind of initiatives do we want to roll out? And of course, we have to think about our strategy with the regulators. So it's a lot about strategizing, how should we lobby with the regulators. We got to build close relationships with the regulators so that the regulations don't get overly too controlling, so that it will stifle the growth of the entire industry. So yeah, ultimately, and then of course it's about thinking about how do we grow the team, how do we attract the top talents from into Tokocrypto so that we can grow and achieve our vision and our mission. And then it's a lot about metrics, looking at data, seeing how certain campaigns or certain business lines are performing, and then we got to step in if there needs to be an intervention. We'll step in if there's a need that we say we need to basically try something new. It's not working right now, we need to try something new, things like that. It's a lot of fun. I get to really outreach with a lot of you get to network with other business owners as well. So
okay, let's talk about what goes into creating your strategy then, because you make it seem very easy. So what kind of thought processes and what kind of resources do you need to tap into in order to create a strategy?
A growth strategy, right? So I think first thing first is to understand the state of the company. right? And the data and resources that you would require to understand the state of the company, you need data metrics like, the weekly active traders on Tokocrypto. For me, at least, you need to know the weekly active traders. You need to know what's the trading volume. You need to know, say, what's the number of registrations that's coming in per month. We need to know where are these people coming from. And yeah, so that's the first thing. We need to know where we are, right? In order to plan, right? We need to know where we are. The second thing is that we need to know where the industry is. So industry-wide metrics, like what I mentioned, what's the total number of users there are within Indonesia that's part of the industry.
Wait, can I pause for a second? What metrics are you looking at? Are you looking at only Indonesian metrics?
Yeah, for Tokocrypto, it's Indonesian metrics.
Okay, got it. Continue.
Yeah, the part if you want for global metrics, we'll look at TKO token, because we have the TKO token as well as part of the Tokocrypto ecosystem. But that's another story. So for Tokocrypto, we look at the Indonesian metrics. We look at where the industry is going. We look at what the government sentiment is currently leaning more towards to. So it's more positive, then we definitely can, ride away from that. If it's kind of more neutral, then we got to have kind of like a wait and see approach. If it's a negative sentiment, then, we got to take precautionary measures. First we get to know where we are at. And then next is to identify what's the potential of growth, right? First, you got to identify the potential before we can, if there are 260 million people in Indo and we strategize that we want to get 1 billion users from Indo, that's not possible, right? So we got to know what's the potential of growth in Indo. What's the demographics of people? What's the the lower lying fruits that we can identify so that we can quickly bring them on board into the crypto industry. From there, then we can plan, say, okay, it takes X amount of time in order to bring, Y amount of people onto the ecosystem. And then from there, we can strategize as to how much we're willing to spend, how much time we're willing to spend, and we got to do, because it doesn't mean that the more money we spend equals more users coming in. There's always going to be a law of diminishing returns, right? You can't just throw a lot of money in and, you're just not going to get effective. So we got to plan it out. We got to think about how, we should spend each month in order to draw people in. And of course, we got to incentivize through educational materials. We got to incentivize through marketing campaigns. So ultimately that balances out into, it's a balance about how much we spend against our metrics. So we got to plan it out. Yeah. So we will have a forecast of spend, and we'll have a forecast of the metrics that we're tracking, and then month on month we'll be able to track and see how's the company growing, how's the market and industry responding to the efforts that we're doing, and we gotta keep doing it every month. It's kind of like you just gotta keep doing it every month, keep finding out more data points, and then just gotta keep having this entire thought process over and over again. Yeah.
So on a day-to-day basis, how do you organize your thoughts? Like, actually how? Via email, via a giant spreadsheet? Like, what are you doing to organize all of those different moving parts in your mind?
I think Google Calendar is the greatest invention ever. So I'm just looking at my calendar right now. So all of my meetings are all spread out, and basically just one look, I can see that I have daily calls that actually looks at the daily metrics of Toko, because on week basis, we're running campaigns, right? So through these daily calls, we are able to measure basically the metrics that's coming from each campaign. My typical day starts off from looking at the previous day metrics, and then review based on the campaign results. Then it would naturally transition into more meetings like meetings with regulators or meetings with potential investors. And then there would be interviews and podcasts and webinars and TV shows that we have to participate in order to push awareness, PR awareness of Tokocrypto as well. And I look forward to Fridays the most because the bigger team comes together online, right? Because right now we can't meet face to face, and I have not seen like 95% of my guys for the past 1.5 years. Yeah. So Fridays is when we all congregate, and we have like a weekly call. We can just catch up.
Via what?
Via, of course, Google Meet.
Google Meet. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Not face to face. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to when this whole thing when this whole thing subsides, COVID, right? I've bought a barbecue pit and I'm ready to mingle with my guys.
Wow, cool. Ooh, would you fly them all to Jakarta?
I hope there's an opportunity for that in the future. Definitely looking at that. I mean, it's nice to catch up. It's nice to have that face-to-face interaction. It's just something that Google Meet cannot replace.
Yep. Yeah, I am definitely missing it as well. And I too have not met any of the people that I work with because I joined this company in the pandemic and we're totally remote. So it's very interesting to not have that face-to-face interaction. Yeah. And that's why I think it's interesting because Indonesia is so spread out like across so many different islands, and so not having like one central hub like America does in the sense of like the Bay Area, maybe. I have no idea. I'm Canadian. But like maybe the Bay Area is like their big hub of like tech. And to have Jakarta be the big hub of tech, and yet it's like on an island, and then there's like the whole country is on all different islands. Like, how do you get to each other? I don't know. I don't get it.
That's interesting. I think Indonesia, I think it's the most geographically decentralized country. I don't know if I got that fact wrong or not. 17,000 islands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's crazy. So many islands. All right. Well, Kai, thank you so much for joining the podcast. I had a blast. I learned a lot about Indonesia crypto that I didn't know before. And, I hope I can come and visit you one day. We can eat some nasi goreng, talk in my limited Indonesian bahasa that I know. And thank you so much for joining the podcast. If we want to find you and what you're working on online, where can we look?
Sure. I think the best place you can look for us is you can check me out not check me out. You can look me up on Twitter. You can go Twitter my name, Pang Xue Kai, or you can Twitter Tokocrypto's Twitter handle, or TKO Tokens Twitter handle, and then you'll be able to connect with us to find out more. We're on Telegram as well, but just make sure that you join the legit group, and make sure you join the legit Twitter handles. I think that's very important. There's a lot of fraudsters of Instagram, of Twitter that's going on, so make sure that you join.
Great. I will put that official link in the show notes of the episode so that everyone can go check it out. And if you like this episode of the HackerNoon podcast, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to it, and share it with all of your friends. You can find us online at HackerNoon, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever. And this episode was produced by HackerNoon. It was hosted by me, Amy Tom, and edited by your lovely audio wizard, Alex. Stay weird, and I'll see ya on the internet. Bye-bye.